Hi there, and welcome back to another video. And I'm
Raging. Brother.
welcome back here, folks. And today we're breaking down One Piece chapter 1059. So, I really enjoyed this chapter. I thought it was good. I know I've been on hiatus and not been posting videos, and I will continue to be consistent. I really want to bring people to this channel. So if you stumble on this video, know that there's going to be a home here on this channel for One Piece manga reviews every week. Make sure you like this video for that every week. Now, coming in at my number 5. Kobe being captured by Blackbeard and taken to a whole nother place other than where he was at. So I think that this is very interesting. It mirrors how Kobe was introduced in the story, with Alvida, basically a fat pirate capturing him and taking Kobe in as their cabin boy. I see the same situation reflected with Kobe in this chapter. And Blackbeard, we find out, has a history with Kobe and this whole mystery of the Rocky Port incident, where he was able to take control of the island from the former Rocks crew member Wang Ji, and somehow Law was in that and Kobe was the hero of this incident. From the news standpoint, we don't know the actual context, but Blackbeard seems to have some interest in him, so he took him along because he wasn't able to get Boa Hancock. That was what his main goal this chapter was. Coming in at number 4. Rayleigh intercepted Blackbeard, and Blackbeard, I'm not gonna lie, we talk about how Yonko's the most powerful emperors in the sea, and you let old man Rayleigh stop you from getting what you want? Man, shaking my head, but that is what happened. The reason why Kobe was captured was an indirect incident of Rayleigh coming in, stepping in, saying he's gonna negotiate because, the whole situation on the Amazon Lily was crazy. It was chaotic. Both sides were fighting. You had the Marines, you had the Kuja Pirates, then you had Blackbeard. You had all these three entities vouching for the same thing, for, the Amazonian princess, Boa Hancock. And, she would have been Blackbeard's if it weren't for Rayleigh. But Rayleigh stepped in. He was pulling the OG card, and I appreciate him in this chapter. Even in a little dialogue he talked about of not liking Teach. We know that Whitebeard and Gold Roger had many fights back in the day, and this also speculates to the reason why Teach is feared in this day was he was feared back then by Shanks and Buggy, and I guess Rayleigh also felt the same about Teach. So I feel it's very interesting. I wonder why they got so much animosity towards him. What was he like in those fights back in the day? I'm very interested to see that. Coming in at my number 3. Marco left Wano. He is gone. He came. We didn't really see him in terms of what was happening, after the climax of the battle. We know he was mourning the loss of Izo, but we didn't see where he went. But now, in this chapter, we see him talking to Luffy and exchanging, the good vibes that he had, back in Whitebeard War. He was protecting Luffy, for Ace's sake. And to see Luffy evolve into the Yonko pirate that he is today, he gives him the remarks that Ace will be proud of him, and that also he is proud of him, And that doesn't, seem really out the blue to say. I like this moment between Marco and Luffy. Coming in at number 2. Boa Hancock's performance this chapter, she lived up to the name Pirate Empress. Not only did she have two entities come to her island and try to capture her devil fruit, she manages to survive and literally keep her devil fruit, her island, her people safe and intact from two enemies trying to steal her power. And I think she lives up to the Pirate Empress name, you know. We're talking about, you know, who is, you know, the greatest pirates in One Piece. We're talking about who's the greatest pirates in One Piece. Who are the pirates that everyone remembers, everyone's thinking about, everyone, you know, has, you know, a vibe, you know. And Boa Hancock, I feel like, is very interesting in how she has her ability where she can turn people to stone, you know, without even doing much. Like, people already have the attractive look, you know, for her, and then ends up backfiring in their favor. And now we learn in this chapter that that is final. That is final. Like, another person who were to get the devil fruit after Hancock cannot unsolidify the people who've been petrified by her devil fruit. And it makes sense because only the person wielding the devil fruit, their allure is what causes people to be attracted, so it would only work for that particular person, you know. So this is very interesting. It also ties into what I, you know, other thoughts in this review, but, you know, Boa Hancock basically, you know, putting on the brakes on her island and making sure that no one, you know, was heavily injured, heavily hurt. I think that's very respectable from a leader standpoint, seeing her do this, and a character standpoint of how strong she is. You know, she had the entire vice admirals frozen. She had Blackbeard's, you know, two of his Titanic captains, you know, Vasco shot, and the woman, Calarina Devon. Both of them were spin with Boa Hancock and were petrified. And if it wasn't for Rayleigh stepping in, they would have lost their life. Coming in at number 1. Blackbeard's performance in this chapter. Yes, I did say that Blackbeard was lackluster because he let Old Man Rayleigh scare him. But at the same time, the character came in this arc and was as badass as ever. And it was just a treat to see. We have not seen Teach until a couple chapters, I think back in like the 958, 959, one of those chapters. Blackbeard said that he was on the run for something, you know what I mean? He was looking for something, and we find that specific something was Boa Hancock's devil fruit, or in the attempts to probably try to recruit her, you know? And he, in this chapter, was looking studly. He rocks up, he uses his Quake no Maid, completely pushes away all the Navy admirals, and he's pushing away their ships, he's pushing away their men, he's making his way into the battlefield while, you know, the Marines were already there with their other toys. But, you know, while they were there with other toys, Blackbeard was rolling up and getting what he wanted, you know what I mean? He rolled up, he fought one of the Marines' toys, but, you know, it wasn't really working. You know, we know that Blackbeard has armament hockey now, you know, and, you know, he has his, I guess, better awareness of hockey at this time, and I find that very fascinating, very interesting. So Blackbeard, he pulls up to the Capitol, he uses his, you know, Quake, you know, he uses the black hole, you know, linearly when he puts it on the ground, and he sucks everything in, and he, you know, blows it out with the black hole technique, and he's able to catch Boa Hancock, which I think is very interesting. You know, he's the only person in the vicinity who's able to counteract Boa Hancock's devil fruit ability with canceling out with the Yami Yami no Mi, and even threatens to kill Boa Hancock and take her fruit, even though it would lose his his Titanic captain members. And this is just extra Blackbeard-esque, and I love it. Blackbeard is the type of character. He is, trying to get what he wants. He is using everyone as a means to an end. And it's interesting that we get that dynamic, highlighted again, that he doesn't care about his crew. He doesn't care about the people under him. He cares about getting what his prerogatives are done. And it's going to be very interesting to see Blackbeard, what his agendas are in the One Piece story in the future, because if he's willing to just let Vasco Shot and, Caloria Devon die, how is that going to translate into future arcs, which I think is very interesting. Now for some side thoughts. Now what's revealed in this chapter is absolutely fire. A whole changing point of the story and the reveal of the SSG, the Seraphim. Now, I didn't have this in my top 5 because we don't know too much about this. This is the start of this project, and I want to make another video on the Seraphim. So make sure you like this video for that video when it comes out. The Seraphim are an interesting piece of One Piece because they change the ground so rapidly. Let's say if the Marines got Boa Hancock's Devil Fruit, that means the Boa Hancock Seraphim would be able to use that specific Devil Fruit, like Boa Hancock, just in a deadly way that she did, but working completely all control as a slave for the government. It is crazy to think that they have this. And I wonder if the Seraphim, all the warlords are possibly Seraphim, or other people, former Yonko will be, new Seraphim too. I don't know, but I find it very interesting. Mihawk, his Seraphim, was able to do the most damage on the entire island, slashing the huge Kuja Mountain Pirates, symbol, and literally slicing that in half, changing the literal architecture of the island with one slash. This reminds me of Mihawk in the Whitebeard War where he cut the tidal wave. But that's a lot of power, The Seraphim are providing a huge impact to the Marines, and I think that the SSG has lived up to the highest week. Lastly, we got the Katakuri and Oven Chronicles. And they completely get stunned by Caesar Clown's gas, which allows Caesar and the Germa to escape, which I find that's just completely interesting, I see Germa as an interesting spectacle in the final war, so hopefully, they escape, break free, and, have a future role in the story. Overall, my thoughts on this chapter was pretty good. I think the developments here are great. The Yonko performance from Blackbeard was amazing. Him showing up in this chapter, standing off against the Seraphim, using his techniques, and his evolution of the character and how he looks now is very interesting here at New York Yonkos. Boa Hancock, Pirate Empress, living up to her name. Even though she was kind of shaky in that situation, she took out a lot of men on both sides, and women. So, that is a very interesting developments for this chapter, and this was my review. I'll catch you in the next video.